Now, before I touch upon directly the theme, indirectly, I would like the chairman, CLFMA, Mr. Divya Kumar Gulati, to open the batting of this session. Mr. Gulati, yesterday during the thematic address, I had made a small mention that somehow there is still a perception in the industry that CLFMA only represents a section of the livestock sector and not the entire livestock sector. And I was to great extent proven right by Mr. Sodhi's presentation in the morning, when first explaining the outline of his presentation, his last point was how the feed manufacturing sector can support dairy industry, and he said, all of you represent that. And in the concluding remarks of his presentation also, that all of you are from the feed manufacturing sector. Now, you are clearly mentioning yourself as an association of livestock sector, and as I said earlier, the entire livestock sector stands represented in today's panel. So I would request you to share with us the thoughts and the ambition of CLFMA to first become an inclusive body of the livestock sector, and then how to realize this dream of Viksit Bharat, and what role can CLFMA play in that. Mr. Gulati, over to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving the opening batting. It's a real tough one. So, first of all, sir, I would like to thank all the panelists to come here and agree to be part of this all association representation. I have individually spoken to all, saying that if we want to achieve what we want to achieve, we all have to be together in it, which means one nation, one voice. To be able to do that, since feed is 70 to 80% of the component of all the sectors, we need to be together. And CLFMA, originally starting as Compound Livestock Feed Manufacturers Association, and feed being the main component, gives us the opportunity to represent all the three sectors, which is dairy, aqua, and poultry. We have up till now been concentrating mainly on poultry is because we've had issues with the soybean meal prices, and recently now we are facing issues of raw material availability like corn. We're trying to find alternative feed ingredients. But now we have another challenge with us, is the tariffs on the shrimps. Now, as a national body, what we've been able to do, sir, is that we have hired a PR agency. Now, the best way, it is good that we talk amongst each other over here with 450, 500 people, 600 people, and within ourselves discuss things. But it never gets out. People don't know about our sector. As Dr. Manoj said, 100 kilometers, 20 kilometers away from the shoreline, nobody knows about shrimps. How do we advocate our sector? We basically providing food. Right? We are the best protein source for the country. All the three sectors provide protein, whether it's milk, whether it's poultry, whether it's aqua, shrimp. And that's why what CLFMA did was hired a PR agency to take the voice out into the public. Which also means that once we are talked about, our sector is talked about, it also helps us get noticed by the government, which is where it all begins, is that we have to be noticed not only by the people, but the policymakers also. What CLFMA has been able to achieve since the past 6-7 years, starting from, I think, Mr. Bhave's time as chairman, is to connect very closely with the Animal Husbandry Ministry, which has been continued by Neeraj Srivastava and Suresh Devara, and I continue to follow the path. And I'm sure in the future also, the incoming chairmen will follow this path. So it's very important. I would not like to be repetitive that we talk in the same language, one nation, one voice. I would not like to take, sir, more of the time because we have a heavy panel, and I would like to have the others also to speak and speak out their mind and what they think about it. So thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Gulati, and thank you for being very succinct and brief, because I think we don't have much time. We've already consumed a lot of time. I'll go to Mr. Chako now. Mr. Chako, just elaborating on the presentation made by Manoj in the morning. No doubt it was a very impressive presentation, but what it highlighted was also the stress which the shrimp industry was undergoing right now. You see, ladies and gentlemen, shrimp has been the biggest success story of this country in the animal agriculture sector for the last decade and a half. It has registered nearly 1,000% growth, both in production as in exports. And in a very short time, we emerged as the biggest shrimp exporter in the world. What happened that suddenly this fairy tale took a slightly different turn and a small country like Ecuador overtook us. And now with this disruption on account of prohibitive tariffs which the United States proposes to impose, that has already imposed, how is it that we are going to react and tackle this situation? And secondly, I've read your post on LinkedIn wherein you have made a call for a national mission on shrimp. So could you explain your idea and your dream of a national mission of shrimp, and how this national mission of shrimp would ensure sustainable growth and development of shrimp? Because the way shrimp has developed, and it has actually ushered in economic prosperity to the shrimp farmers, the processors, hatchery operators, etc. How to take it forward, how to sustain it, so that by 2047, we again emerge as the undisputed champion of the global shrimp markets. Over to you, Mr. Chako.
Thank you, sir. Basically, here, the theme of CLFMA, when we talk about the vision for animal agriculture for Vikasit Bharat. Now, animal agriculture is a term where, we all can connect with. So, all this while, every sector, whether it's dairy, poultry, or aqua for the matter, we are all, when you look at, we are the same, the different chapters of the same story. So, and we are all talking about the protein consumption or protein security for people. So here, when we talk about the development of shrimp sector, say what we were producing, something about 1 lakh of tons in the year prior to 2009 to 2010, when Vanamai was introduced. From 1 lakh of tons, today we have crossed 1 million tons. So this is like about a kind of 10 times growth. So now we are at the crossroads because of the, we have the production capacity, we are doing it. But then now a small country like Ecuador has overtaken us in the recent past due to various reasons, like how the dairy sector. Dairy sector is based on, kind of, small sectors, a lot of, individual farmers and all that, and we have a wide variety of sources. The same way, Ecuador, they have, Vanamai is a native species of the country. Whereas we are working with the same Vanamai, which is imported, and it is adapted to with the genetic modification and all that. We're doing it, and so that is a different story altogether. So we have our own species. We have monodon, we have indicus. So this is one direction I think we need to work to develop our own species, which is resilient for our climatic factors. That is one. Second thing is that, I was talking about the National Shrimp Mission. It is basically now, we are producing about 1 lakh of, 1 million ton of shrimp. We consume hardly 10% of that. Almost 90% is being exported. Now, how long can we depend on the kind of, unstable markets, like, suddenly a world leader says that, we want to impose tariffs, and so we have to be self-reliant. That is one thing, we need to do. So for that, we somehow, we need to increase the consumption. There is scope. We have the population, the demographic advantage, the population is there. So if it is being consumed now, we are talking about the protein, all of us are producing protein. So this becomes a national mission, where, because a family does not consume milk alone or chicken alone or dairy products alone. We have to provide a comprehensive plate. So this becomes the same story where we can tell people that, okay, look, I mean, we have variety. Somebody wants to eat, I mean, go to a buffet, you have multiple choices. The same way it has to happen in, for the shrimp sector too.
Thank you, Mr. Chako. Thank you so much. Besides shrimp, although shrimp has seen this impressive growth over the last decade and so, poultry has been consistently demonstrating over a long period of time impressive growth. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, amongst all the food production sectors, I think poultry is one of the fastest, has been the fastest growing. And poultry is also a very great lesson for the entire animal agriculture sector, and how from a backyard farming activity, you can convert yourself into a very organized and integrated industry. How from mere farming it can become a major enterprise. So I would come to you, Mr. Chituri. How do you visualize the consumption landscape to be in the year 2047 when we hope to claim that we are actually a Viksit nation? And how can the industry get together to influence consumption patterns in a positive direction?
Thank you, sir. So I think a few months back, I did a small write-up and shot it to a few people. So basically I said, agar Viksit Bharat, India, not agar, India hone wala hai 2047 ko. So what does it mean? So quickly went on, did some basic research. What is a developed country eating today in terms of protein? Animal protein kitna kha raha hai? And then I said, I put a 20% discount on that because bola yaar hum Indians hai, we will never eat like, and also I believe it's an average, right? So there are different countries eating at different level. So I put a 20% discount on that, and then I came down and I said, if 10% of that protein is eggs and 20% is chicken, then what does it mean? So it is coming to an average of an egg a day and about 19 kilos of per capita. Mind you, Indian population is also going to go up by then. So then of course some of the industry people were angry. All these countries are eating 40, 50 kgs of chicken, so 19 kilos. 19, let's worry how we will deal with 19, right? We will worry about. See, because my thing came from, are we as a nation prepared for what is coming, right? This means, see today, again, first thing, department says we are producing 4.5 million chicken tons meat per year. I have no idea what that 4.5 means, because in aqua, it is taken at farm, right? It is live weight. It is not processed weight. So when they put the number out in aqua, it is including the bones and the skin and everything, right? But in agar us hisab se gaye, so then we are almost 13-14 million already. ठीक है, I assume no, they're taking only meat, right? मतलब skin निकल गया, सब bones निकल गए, सब. Even then, मेरे हिसाब से it is not less than 10 million tons production. Yesterday, minister was saying all meats is 10 million. So then one day, luckily, Jain Saab on a stage was saying, this was about 5-6 years back, 500 crore chicks are being placed every year. So aaj to kam se kam 600 crores hai. It took me a long time to convince everybody to come to that number, come to one number, they have come. So that still means 8.5 million. So that means the issue I have with that is we are projecting numbers on what the poultry needs, but what is poultry we also don't know. So this 3 kgs, हम लोग कब से बोल रहे, जब से मैं पैदा हूँ तब से बोल रहे 3 kgs. Actually we are close to 6-7 kgs per capita consumption now. Anyway, the long and short is this means on eggs we will at least go 4 times to 5 times in the next 22 years. Chicken will go 6 times. So today, egg layer market is 21 million tons feed. Broiler is about 24 million tons. Maybe it's a little bit more, but something like that. So my projection is 2047. Broiler will need close to 85 to 90 million tons of feed. And layer will need about 75 million tons of feed. Right? So just you can imagine the opportunities, right? Today, I was just asking Gulati ji, we are already The feed sector is, again, I don't agree with that number because on layers and our poultry side, I think our numbers are more or less, we know what it is. Maybe idhar udhar ho sakta hai, 5%. But dairy, they're only calculating what is being officially sold. They're not calculating every cow as a market. They're only calculating ki compound feed kaun bana raha hai. So dairy, is far bigger than what they're projecting. So 250 billion is an underestimation of an extreme underestimation of the feed business, sir. So that said, that is the opportunity for us. And this is happening. Now, how do we handle this, I think, is what we have to look at. And so, great times ahead. I don't know how many of us will be there in 2047 as businessmen, right? Either us or our companies. But the industry has great future. So I think I'll end that, sir.
I just want you to just briefly touch upon this issue of extreme volatility and unpredictability of the poultry markets.
Yeah.
And how the industry proposes to handle this situation so that it doesn't derail our journey towards Viksit Bharat.
So I can tell you why it is happening. Answers are a little difficult because, again, it's like this, sir. Somebody was once telling me, weight loss, what is it that I don't know about how to lose weight? But am I willing to do what is needed to do that? Right? Har saal samosa dekha, sandwich dekha, and you eat it. So the problem is, right now is, as an industry, we are not working together. NECC was a brilliant, this thing that was started. But I remember, because I grew up, my father running that, building it up and all that. Every morning, he knew each truck, when there was no WhatsApp, there was no internet, forget about 5G. He knew to the last truck, kidhar kya tha. Today, I'm telling you, nobody knows how many eggs are being produced in a street, forget about in the country. Right? And that is the main, we have lost that control, and that is where the problem is starting from. 1-2 trucks in Barwala sell for 10 paisa less, immediately Andhra reacts, then Tamil Nadu reacts. And so that is where the problem is happening. Same thing is happening with chicken also, this thing. Because one thing which was a good thing in chicken till the time back is, till couple of years back, कि जो भी farm grade price था and sale price था, कुछ relationship था. Now that is not there. In the last few months, I am noticing farm gate price कुछ भी हो, consumer price उतना नहीं बढ़ रहा है, उतना फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा है. So that means somewhere we lost the game. So which is good news and bad news. The good news is problem is with us, not externally. The bad news is also that problem is with us. We don't want to talk to each other. अब कुछ है, certain things I say something, now suddenly half the room will गायब हो जाएगा यहाँ से. So anyway, so that is how we are, but that is the truth. We have to confront. We have to come together, sir. And export, actually, our thinking is wrong. Unlike shrimp, export is not an opportunity to make money. Export is an opportunity to stabilize India. 5% chicken आप free बेच दो, 95% chicken में आपको 30 रुपए ज़्यादा आएगा. But how do we do that? Who do we ask to do that? That is the problem. I think belling the cat is the problem there.
Thank you so much for explaining this issue with great clarity. You see, morning the presentation by Dr. Girish Kulwankar repeatedly highlighted the challenge of managing the feed cost in poultry. And then he also gave a comparative table on the GM versus non-GM feed which is available in the market and how it severely impairs the competitiveness of our poultry. तो रणपाल डांडा जी मैं आपकी तरफ आऊँगा क्योंकि आप धरातल से जुड़े हुए किसान भी हैं और पोल्ट्री के भी धरातल से जुड़े व्यक्ति हैं. तो ये जो फीड कॉस्ट जो हमारी निरंतर बढ़ती जा रही है या एक चुनौती बनकर आई है, इसको कैसे मैनेज करना है और क्या जीएम क्रॉप्स इसका सॉल्यूशन होंगी कि जीएम क्रॉप्स भी अपने साथ जो है कोई नई समस्या भी ला सकती हैं. एक पोल्ट्री का जो स्मॉल फार्मर है वो कैसे देखता है इसको?
सबको नमस्कार. बहुत ही ऐसा क्वेश्चन दरअसल आपने किया है तो मैं इसका थोड़ा पहले इसके बारे में मैं अपने लाइव सेक्टर के और पूरे पोल्ट्री सेक्टर के जो हमारे दिग्गज हैं, बड़ी बड़ी कंपनियां हैं, इंटीग्रेटर हैं और फीड मिलर हैं, उनको इस मंच के माध्यम से का आह्वान करना चाहूँगा कि आज जो हमारे पास वर्तमान संसाधन है, जो हमारा सोइंग एरिया है, उसका हम पूरी तरह से दोहन नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, उसका यूटिलाइजेशन नहीं कर पा रहे हैं। और मैं ये एक उदाहरण के माध्यम से बताऊंगा, जिस प्रकार से आज भी हमारे देश में मैं कहूँगा कि 50-60% लोग जिस प्रकार ये सोचते हैं ना कि भाई अंडे में चिक्स होता है, वेज नहीं है, आज भी सोचते हैं। सब लोगों को नहीं पता है कि लेयर के अंडे में चिक्स नहीं होता। इसी प्रकार हमारे यहाँ किसान को अभी तक ये नहीं पता है कि हमारे यहाँ अगर हम अच्छा सीड यूज करें, अच्छे तरीके से टेक्नोलॉजी यूज करें, तो एक हम अच्छी ईल्ड पर एकड़ ले सकते हैं। क्योंकि मैं, जैसे कि आपने बताया, मैं एक पोल्ट्री का किसान भी हूँ और एक एग्रीकल्चर किसान भी हूँ। तो मैंने अब की बार पोल्ट्री फेडरेशन ऑफ इंडिया के हमारे सारे पदाधिकारियों ने काफ़ी मेहनत की और हरियाणा में हमने तकरीबन 1000 एकड़ के करीब मक्का की बिजाई करवाई अपने पोल्ट्री फेडरेशन ऑफ इंडिया के एफर्ट से। तो जैसे मैंने भी अपना 20 एकड़ मक्का लगाया, तो मेरे को उसमें 39 क्विंटल 15 किलो पर एकड़ की मेरी एवरेज ईल्ड आई, जिस पे मेरे को भी विश्वास नहीं था। मैंने सिर्फ सीड दिया और मैं जिस दिन वो कटिंग हुई, सारा हार्वेस्टिंग हुई, तब मेरे पास डाटा आया। हमने कुछ ज़्यादा एफर्ट्स नहीं किया, तो मैं उसको देख के हैरान था। क्योंकि हमारे यहाँ भी जैसे जो किसान हरियाणा की मैं बात करूँगा, क्योंकि मैं वहाँ देखता हूँ एग्रीकल्चर, तो वहाँ पे करते, तो एक धारणा है कि मक्का 10, 15, 20 क्विंटल से ज़्यादा निकलेगी ही नहीं, मतलब इसलिए लोग लगाते ही नहीं। जैसे अंडा नहीं खाते वेज और नॉन वेज के चक्कर में, ऐसे ही मक्का भी नहीं बिजाई करते। तो हम लोगों को ये सोचना पड़ेगा कि हम किस प्रकार से जीएम के बारे में जो एफर्ट्स कर रहे हैं वो करें, लेकिन जो हमारे पास संसाधन है पहले उसके लिए तो हम कुछ करें। हमारे फार्मर को समझाएं कि भाई नहीं, मक्का इतना निकल सकता है, अगर आप अच्छा सीड यूज करोगे, ये करोगे, तो उसके लिए हमें कुछ करना पड़ेगा। हमें उस सरकार की इंतजार नहीं करनी है, कुछ न कुछ हमारे इन सारे फीड मिलर, इंटीग्रेटर सारे मिल के हमने अपने अपने एरिया वाइज जैसा भी करके हमने फार्मर को वो करना पड़ेगा इसके लिए। तो मैं तो यही कहूँगा कि ये लड़ाई तो हम चलो जो भी है लड़ेंगे जीएम की आगे, क्योंकि देखिए हमारे सामने एक हमने बहुत बड़ी चुनौती दिख रही है फीड की, लेकिन वो लड़ाई हम लड़े तब जब वहाँ पे कुछ अभी अपॉर्चुनिटी दिख रही हो कि ये हो सकता है। एज ए पोल्ट्री फेडरेशन ऑफ इंडिया के प्रेसिडेंट मैंने भी 3-4 बार पूरे एफर्ट्स लगाए हैं इस पे। शिवराज चौहान जी से भी हमने सार्वजनिक तौर पे भी, चाहे वो जितने भी बड़े बड़े सेमिनारों में हुए हैं, वहाँ मैंने क्वेश्चन भी किए हैं कि हमें ये किया जाए, लेकिन सरकार की तरफ से अभी इस तरफ से कोई इस प्रकार का वो रुझान नहीं आ रहा कि आने वाले टाइम में अभी वो उस पर जाएंगे। तो हमने ये एफर्ट्स जारी रखते हुए अगर उसमें कुछ फायदा है तो देखिए, जहाँ तक मेरे को वो है, अभी तक जो डाटे दिखाए जा रहे हैं भाई पर हेक्टेयर यानी पर 2.5 एकड़ में 10, 11, 12 क्विंटल तक जीएम मक्का निकलती है, 10-12 टन तक। और जैसे मैं अपना अगर एक्सपीरियंस हो करूँ तो मेरे को 4 टन के करीब पर एकड़ में मिला, तो वही तकरीबन 10 टन पर हेक्टेयर का हम जब यहाँ पे ये ले रहे हैं, और उसमें और भी कुछ हो सकता है अगर हम एक प्रॉपर तरीके से उस पर एफर्ट्स लगाएं, तो फार्मर को जागरूक करें, सब कुछ करें। तो हमें साथ साथ जो काम हम कर रहे हैं अगर उसमें बेनिफिट है तो वो तो हम करेंगे ही। ये मैं इंडस्ट्री पे छोड़ता हूँ कि भाई ये करना है, मैं तो साथ में हूँ। ऐसा नहीं है कि मैं कोई जीएम के विरोध में बात कर रहा हूँ या करनी है या हमने कुछ ऐसा करना है। जैसा इंडस्ट्री चाहेगी, आज हम घर में बैठे हैं, सारे अपने मेंबर हैं, कोई यहाँ पे ऐसा तो है नहीं कि भाई हम कोई सार्वजनिक दूसरी जगह पे बात कर रहे हैं, यहाँ हम कर सकते हैं, घर हमारा ये। तो ये अपन अगर चाहेंगे और चाह रहे हैं, कर ही रहे हैं उस पर एफर्ट्स। अगर उस पर एक्चुअली में हम सही डाटे लें, अगर उसका एक्चुअली में बेनिफिट है तो हम उसकी तरफ जाना चाहिए। अगर एक आध क्विंटल का या एक आध टन का फर्क है तो हमने यहाँ पे अपने प्राइवेट सेक्टर हैं, बहुत बड़ी बड़ी कंपनियां अभी हाइब्रिड सीड में रिसर्च कर रही हैं, तो हमने उनको पुशअप करना चाहिए कि आप इसको करो करके। आने वाले टाइम में देखिए हम अपने फार्म पे भी कोई चीज़ यूज करते हैं। मैं एक अपना छोटा, वैसे अभी तक वैसे हम जीएम के लिए बात कर ही रहे थे, लेकिन हम अपने फार्म पे भी कोई चीज़ यूज करते हैं तो उसका भी 3-4 बार डालते हैं उसको, 1 फ्लोक में, 2 फ्लोक में, 3 फ्लोक में, पूरे लाइफ साइकिल उसका यूज करते हैं कि भाई इसका क्या रिजल्ट आया है। यहाँ तो अभी जीएम सीड को आए हुए 20-30 साल हैं, अभी तक तो हमारी एक पीढ़ी भी नहीं गई है। तो कम से कम इसका हम ये भी देखें, और जब काम नहीं चलेगा तो एफर्ट्स तो कर ही रहे हैं, तो उसके लिए भी वो करेंगे। धन्यवाद।
धन्यवाद आपका, आपने बहुत ही व्यवहारिक बात की। और अब आप समझ गए होंगे, nominated panel. Mr. Mehti, again coming from Dr. Girish Kolwankar's presentation, apart from the issue of feed, he repeatedly stressed upon the challenge of managing poultry diseases, primarily avian influenza. और उन्होंने, he presented a data wherein he highlighted West Bengal in particular, that the mortality rate is as much as 60% high in West Bengal on account of HPAI. Now, I would like you to first confirm whether this data is high in integrity and could be relied upon, number one. And how would we meet this challenge of managing poultry diseases? Because poultry disease is another serious issue which could actually again derail our progress, which has been very impressive so far. Mr. Mehti.
Namaste, sir. Mortality and disease control and disease management and the development of industry is all the correlated. Mortality is there, but it is not conformity HPI. There are several causes of mortality is there. First time. There was no single conformity of the HPI, so there was the IV age and different diseases there. The every state, Girishji has the in presentation, sees the many of the state having a mortality in this area, and there some state has definitely declared and positively HPI. It is correct. Poultry having a several issues. Some is the long term, some is the short term. Industry growers should be think on what way they solve the issue of the short term and long term. And when the disease outbreaks in the Bengal, we have a very much active in the federation. That area we have stopped the chicken placement because due to, we saw many of the area is mixed problem is there. And after that, it is reduced and it is controlled. All the integrator we jointly decide some of the plans how we control it, and only the placement of stop the placement that some of the areas and stop it. It is a normal phenomenon every time. In last 5 years we are doing it. Disease is a threat, it is correct. Though disease is a threat, but the rate of growth in poultry in West Bengal is more than 12%, 10 to 12% in broiler segment, and nearly 16 to 18% in the layer segment. I think farmers should educate how they control it. And there is a big role of the organization of the farmers' body in every state. In this parameter, I can 2 to 3 suggestions from the August gatherings. Though this is not within the related to the questions. Every state having a single body, single poultry association. And this association should be comprised of all the poultry growers like breeders, broilers, layers, sellers, all, feed millers, everything is there. And they should apprise their government, state government, for any development. And all of the national body definitely talk with the central government. And they should help them, the industry for growth. It is clear 8% growth of the country in 2030. We are the production of the nearly production of the more than 1.5 times or more. And if the export is resist regularly in different way, so we should consume our product in our country. Though disease is a constant, it is correct, but production is growing, it is also correct.
Thank you, Mr. Mehti. You have anything to add?
And I know one question, sir. And give you one good example. We are thinking about the GM crop. It is the long-term solution. It is not in our hand. But one give a live example to all of the people in here. When we established the West Bengal Poultry Federation, our state having only 0.4 million metric ton maize production in our state. But very beginning, the federation request to the government, don't think about the poultry, please growing the maize in our state. And surprisingly, you are all widely aware, our state is producing nearly 4 million metric ton maize of a state. So I request to the all stakeholders and every state bodies, apprise to your government as per your capacity of land availability. Poultry related crops should be produced in higher range, in higher target base, and we should be saved to our industry on a low least cost food production. Because import, आप भूल जाइए import का, सोचिए हम कैसे ग्रो कर सकते हैं. हम ग्रो करेंगे तो वो जो हमको दिक्कत भारत है वो एक्चुअली प्रूव होगा. हम भी बाँचेगा, हमारा खेती चासी भी बाँचेगा. तो दिस इज द practical idea is the Dikshit Bharat. So my idea is that requested to the all people, please go ahead to every state level bodies and apply to their government. Whichever is crop, poultry related crop in your state is growing, that should be increased in higher level, because agriculture is 2 to 3%, 4%, we are in 8 to 10%. So we should be more giving emphasis to the development of the direct agriculture. This is my point.
Thank you, Mr. Mehti, and thank you for that passionate appeal to everyone here. In the morning, everyone must have sat through the presentation made by Dr. R.S. Sodhi, wherein he traced the journey of white revolution in the country with the onset of the program of Operation Flood. And dairy has been one of the greatest successes of this country as far as animal agriculture is concerned. And he explained how we have emerged over the last 3 decades as the biggest milk producing nation in the world. However, one thing struck us very starkly in that presentation, and we're discussing with Dr. O.P. Chaudhary and Dr. Shukla also. जो डॉक्टर सोडी की पहली स्लाइड थी, वो एक फोटोग्राफ थी, एक किसान का परिवार है, वो सब के सब फटे हाल में, फटे हुए कपड़े पहन के जमीन पर बैठे हुए थे, सब वहाँ से गरीबी झलक रही थी. और जो लास्ट स्लाइड थी उसमें कई पशु जो हैं, गाय जो हैं वो जा रही हैं, वो सभी बड़ी कमज़ोर और बीमार टाइप गाय लग रही थी. वो थोड़ा सा जो अटपटा लगा कि वी आर सेइंग वी आर द बिगेस्ट, बट दिस इज व्हाट द कंडीशन ऑफ आवर फार्मर इज. सो एंड data says that we may be very big in production, but we are the smallest as far as productivity is concerned. तो उस संदर्भ में सामने हमारे परिप्रेक्ष्य पे आता है प्रोग्रेसिव डेयरी फार्मर्स एसोसिएशन. I would say they have brought in second milk revolution in this country, and I would call that was white revolution, this is gold revolution. वो श्वेत क्रांति थी, ये स्वर्ण क्रांति है. And interestingly, I would tell you that this Progressive Dairy Farmers Association has more than 40,000 members, and majority are small farmers. So there's a misconcept that progressive farmer will only be a big farmer. तो हमारे साथ दलजीत सिंह जी हैं, चेयरमैन ऑफ PDFA. तो दलजीत जी आप समझाइए कि ये क्रांति किस ढंग से लाई, और विकसित भारत के संदर्भ में इस क्रांति को हम आगे कैसे ले जा सकते हैं ताकि ये पंजाब से बाहर निकलकर दूसरे जो दूध उत्पादन के राज्य हैं वहाँ तक भी पहुँचे. दलजीत जी.
सत श्री अकाल जी सभी को. जैसे पंजाब की डेयरी की बात करें, या पहले मैं खुद की शुरू करूँगा कि मैं 98 में मैंने डेयरी फार्म 100 काउ से शुरू किया था, तब पंजाब में 30-35 एनिमल वाले 10-15 फार्म थे और टोटल डेयरी फार्म 30-40 थे। तो लेकिन पहले ही मेरा जब मैंने शुरू किया तो मैंने अपना एक सोच लिया था कि मैंने प्योर गाय रखनी है, क्रॉस ब्रेड नहीं रखनी। तो अगर जब मैं किसी पास जाता था तो बोलते थे क्रॉस ब्रेड रखो, प्योर रख ही नहीं सकते इंडिया में, चाहे कोई डिपार्टमेंट है, चाहे यूनिवर्सिटीज है, कोई भी है। तो लेकिन मैंने कहा कि अगर इज़राइल में रख सकते हैं तो हमारे में कमी है। लेकिन मैंने फर्स्ट डे से मैंने कभी भी इम्पोर्टेड सीमन के बगैर कोई सीमन नहीं लगाया और सारी इम्पोर्टेड गाय रखी, और एक दिन भी मन में ये नहीं लेके आया कि मैं कभी क्रॉस ब्रेड में जाऊंगा। तो हमने उसी पे काम किया। मैंने 98 में फार्म किया, तो 2002 में मेरे को जो मेरे सोच वाले फार्मर से, तो उन्होंने जो हमारे डेयरी एसोसिएशन का मेरे को प्रेसिडेंट बनाया। तब हम सारे 40-50 फार्म थे हमारे। तो आज 11,000 से प्लस हमारे कमर्शियल डेयरी फार्म हैं। उनके साथ 10-10 गाय वाले तो बहुत ज़्यादा हैं। तो लेकिन ये जो 50 की एवरेज है, और 50 की एवरेज से लेकर 700-800 एनिमल तक हम चले गए हैं। तो आइडियल हमारा जो डेयरी फार्म है वो 100, 200, 300 के फार्म हमारे ज़्यादा हैं। तो अभी सभी डबल होने जा रहे हैं। तो पहले जो आपने कहा जी कि कैसे गए, तो आपकी इनकम तभी आएगी जी अगर अगर आपके प्रोडक्शन, कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन कम होगी, मिल्क प्रोडक्शन ज़्यादा होगी। तो जब हमने पहले शुरू किया तो 4,000 लीटर वाले एनिमल थे क्रॉस ब्रेड हमारे पास। आज हमारे पास 10,000 से लेकर 12,000 305 दिन के दूध देते हैं एनिमल। और हम यूरोप के ज़्यादातर एवरेज को क्रॉस कर गए हैं। पंजाब यूरोप को तो हम बीट कर गए हैं। हम तो अब सिर्फ हमारी टक्कर आने वाला समय है तो वो हमारा अमेरिका के साथ है। हमारे 3-4 महीने हमारी जो स्ट्रेस लेवल होता है उसमें जो हमारी यील्ड कम होती है। लेकिन आज भी मैं बता रहा था कि हम अभी डेटा रिकॉर्डिंग शुरू करने जा रहे हैं। सारे देश में हम बताया करेंगे कि हमारी ये 100 काओ पंजाब की जे या टॉप 10 काओ है। तो मेरे पास खुद मेरे फार्म पे 305 दिन का तरुण जी 12,000 लीटर दूध फर्स्ट लैक्टेशन में गाय ने दिया है। जो फर्स्ट लैक्टेशन 12,000 दे सकती है वो 14,000 पर जाएगी जी, और इस गर्मी में जाएगी सर। तो हमने ब्रीड पे काम किया और हमारे सभी, और हम अकेले नहीं गए, हम सभी को साथ लेके गए। तो मैंने जिस दिन मेरे को प्रेसिडेंट बनाया था मैंने कहा था कि मेरे फार्म का नाम लेना जब बंद हो जाएगा और मेरे 20 गाय वाले फार्मर के पास मेरे से अच्छी गाय होगी तो मैं समझूंगा कि मैं अच्छा प्रेसिडेंट हूँ। तो आज मेरे से भी अच्छी गाय मेरे 20 गाय वाले फार्मर के पास हैं। तो ये हमारी सक्सेस है वहाँ जो हमने पंजाब में की। हमने जब ब्रीड को ऊपर ले गए, आज पंजाब में आपको कोई भी फार्म 9,000 के नीचे वाली किसी के पास, अच्छे फार्म के पास गाय कोई भी नहीं होगी। लेकिन 10,000 12,000 वाले बहुत ज़्यादा हैं। लेकिन अगले आने वाले 5 साल में हम पूरा 10,000 से नीचे वाला कोई नहीं होगा, 10,000 से 13,000 14,000 के बीच हम जाएंगे। तो हमारा अभी जो ब्रीडिंग का स्पीड है और भी आगे ज़्यादा, हम अच्छे बुल, अच्छा सीमन, जो टॉप रैंकिंग के, दुनिया के टॉप रैंकिंग के बुल हैं उनका सीमन मंगवाते हैं हम। ऐसे नहीं कि जो कोई पहले क्या होता था जो इंडिया के लिए रख दिया 20 साल पुराना बुल, उसका सीमन इधर आ जाता था। हम तो बोलते हैं जो लेटेस्ट चलता है वो हमें मुकाबला करना है उनका, उनके साथ जाना है। तो हमने उसमें यील्ड में भी गए, लेकिन जब हमने गाय का दूध बढ़ाया तो उनके लिए इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर भी जरूर चाहिए था कि ताकि हम उनको रख सकें। तो हमने उसके ऊपर शेड अच्छे बनाए, हवादार बनाए, उसमें काउ कूलिंग का पूरा सिस्टम लगाया, TMR, मिल्किंग पार्लर। जो आप कैलिफोर्निया का डेयरी फार्म देखेंगे वो पंजाब का डेयरी फार्म है, ठीक है जी, वो सेम है, कुछ भी उसमें कुछ भी नहीं कम। उसके बाद ज़रूरत आती है कि हम अगर उसके दूध एवरेज, आज हमारे बहुत सारे एनिमल हैं जो 40 लीटर से हम ड्राई करते हैं, 38 लीटर से ड्राई करते हैं। जो ड्राई पीरियड आता है 2 महीने के लिए तो उसको ड्राई करते हैं। तो ऐसे एनिमल की हेल्थ के लिए हमने न्यूट्रिशन पे बहुत काम किया है। तो न्यूट्रिशन में हमने आज आप काफ़ी लोग इधर में फीड मिलर एसोसिएशन भी है और भी लोग हैं सभी जो न्यूट्रिशन में भी काम करते हैं। तो आप कहीं जाएंगे तो आपको 20 रुपये 25 रुपये वाली फीड मिलेगी, लेकिन पंजाब के डेयरी फार्म पे आपको 40 रुपीज़, 38 और 45 रुपीज़ तक वाली फीड मिलेगी, क्योंकि हमने उनको देनी, अब देंगे तो फिर ही लेंगे उनसे। तो हम तो इधर बाबे जी बैठे थे, हम तो बाईपास फैट 500 ग्राम एक गाय को देते हैं, ठीक है जी, एवरेज। तो हम देते हैं, वो हमें वापस देती हैं। तो हमने न्यूट्रिशन पे काम किया, उसके लिए हमने जो सैलेज मेकिंग के ऊपर काम किया। कॉर्न सैलेज आपकी रीढ़ की हड्डी है डेयरी की, अगर आज भी कॉर्न सैलेज बनने लग जाएगा, जो नई फार्म भी चल रहा है वो भी चल जाएगा। तो कॉर्न सैलेज पे कोई काम नहीं होता था, हमने सबसे पहले पंजाब में कॉर्न सैलेज पे काम किया। उसके बाद कॉर्न सैलेज, क्योंकि आपको 1 एकड़ में 4 टन मक्का मिल जाता है मैच्योर हुआ, तो उसको अगर ग्राइंड करना है, उसकी चॉपिंग अच्छी होनी है पाउडर की, तो उसके लिए हमने जो हार्वेस्टर इंपोर्ट किए, पंजाब में बनाए। TMR पहले इंपोर्ट किया, पंजाब में बनाए। जितने इक्विपमेंट है पहले इंपोर्ट किया, पंजाब में बनाए, और पंजाब से सारे देश में जा रहे हैं। तो हमने उसमें भी काम किया। तो ये तीनों चीज़ों पे काम किया, और एसोसिएशन में हमने अपने सारे पंजाब के जितने मेंबर फार्मर्स हैं, जैसे अब तो हम मंथली सेमिनार करते हैं जिसमें 700, 800, 1000 फार्मर आता है, फील्ड के सेमिनार करते हैं। वर्ल्ड डेयरी एक्सपो हमने 2006 में देखा था, तो 2007 में वो डेयरी शो वैसे ही किया, ब्रीडिंग कंपटीशन, मिल्किंग कंपटीशन, एग्जीबिशन। आज हम अभी भी नेक्स्ट मंथ हर साल जाते हैं वर्ल्ड डेयरी एक्सपो में। तो लेकिन उनके एक्सपो और हमारे एक्सपो में ज़मीन आसमान का फ़र्क है, सारा देश हमारे एक्सपो में आता है, तो ताकि हम देश में इसी को वहाँ से देख के देश में जाते हैं। और मैं लास्ट में, क्योंकि तरुण जी भी मेरे को वो इधर वो भी शुरू कर लेते हैं टाइम भी कि कितना हो गया देखते हैं, तो हमारी बातें ऐसी होती जी थोड़ी लंबी होती हैं, ठीक है जी। तो क्योंकि आप अधूरी छोड़ नहीं सकते, तो उतनी तो पूरी करनी पड़ती है। तो मैं लास्ट में एक बताता हूँ जी को कि हमारे जब मैंने गाय लेनी शुरू की थी, आप उसकी कामयाबी इसी से लगा लेना जी। जब मैंने जी गाय लेनी शुरू की थी 98 में, तो जो मैं क्रॉस ब्रेड गाय थी वो 25,000 की थी तब 98 में जी। तो जो थोड़ी सी प्योर गाय थी, जो कभी सीमन कोई 15-20 साल पहले पंजाब गवर्नमेंट ने लिया था, उनके कुछ बुल की गाय थी, मैंने 12,000, 13,000, 14,000 आधे रेट में ली थी। तो वो कोई लेता ही नहीं था कि इसके टीट्स बहुत छोटे हैं, ये तो प्योर है, कौन रखेगा, मैंने तो वही ली, ठीक है जी। आज जो 25,000 वाली गाय है पंजाब में, वो 50,000 में आज भी मिल जाएगी, 60,000 में मिल जाएगी। लेकिन जो 12,000 वाली गाय है, उसकी मिनिमम कीमत 2 लाख से लेकर 3-3.5 लाख है, ठीक है जी। ये हमारी कामयाबी है, क्योंकि सारा देश लेके आता है, पंजाब लेता है, सारा देश हमारे से गाय लेके आता है। और ताकि जाके, क्योंकि आप के जो खर्चे हैं ना जी, आप अगर देश को इधर लेके कामयाबी डेयरी, आप छोटी साहब ने बताया, तो हम जब उनको बताना ही ऐसे कि तुमने रहना ही गरीब है, तो आप फिर वो तो गरीब ही रहेंगे ना। जब उसकी यील्ड, आपकी कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन ही नहीं निकलेगी, तो हमारे फार्मों में आएंगे तो आपके हर एक फार्म में फॉर्च्यूनर खड़ी होगी, ठीक है जी। हमारी कामयाबी है। और छोटे फार्मर हैं हमारे, ठीक है जी, 2-2, 5 एकड़, 7 एकड़ वाले हैं, लेकिन गाड़ी भी अच्छी मिलेगी, घर भी अच्छा मिलेगा, सब कुछ अच्छा ही मिलेगा। और हम ये डेयरी सारे देश में जानी चाहिए अगर कामयाबी कर रही है। थैंक यू,
थैंक यू दलजीत जी। नहीं, एक्चुअली यू सी, when we are talking in terms of contribution of animal agriculture to Viksit Bharat, so in absolute terms, the maximum contribution will have to be by the dairy sector. Like in the forenoon session, somebody gave this figure, and it's a very correct figure, that the value of our dairy is more than the combined value of wheat, paddy and sugarcane. डेयरी की वैल्यू 11 लाख करोड़ के करीब, 11-12 लाख करोड़ के करीब पहुंच गई है, जबकि इनकी तीनों के मिलाकर मैं कहा 6-7 लाख करोड़ के करीब है। So this will have to be the biggest contribution, and it is very important that we learn lessons from these success stories and try that these models are expanded beyond the closed geographical confines. एक स्थान से दूसरे स्थान पर लेकर जाए, तीसरे स्थान पर लेकर जाए। After ऑपरेशन फ्लड जब हुआ था, कोऑपरेटिव मॉडल था, वो ऐसे ही फैलता गया। तो I think CLFMA can take a lead, maybe bring some progressive farmers from other states to their dairies and show them. और अगले सेमिनार में दलजीत जी को मॉडरेटर बनाना है। So that time. Okay, now I'll come to you, Naveen, because besides others, you have also created a very successful retail poultry model. Now you see, there's a data. It was again thrown in the morning. Also, it keeps tricky that the contribution of processed and frozen poultry products is about 5 to 7% or so. More than 90, between 90 to 95% is wet markets. Now you see, while the gradual effort is being made, sincere efforts are being made, that we should move more towards processed and frozen products. However, considering the huge and overwhelming contribution of fresh products and wet markets, plus our cultural preference for something which is fresh and raw. We don't understand that frozen can also be fresher than the fresh, but there's a cultural preference also. Number one, you tell us how to move towards the journey of expanding the share of processed and frozen products. And secondly, how do we reinvent our wet markets and make them safe and hygienic? After all, at many places, they are heritage places. They are national treasures, these wet markets. So if you could throw some light on that, with your experience of running a very successful retail chain.
I don't know if I can call it as a successful retail chain. I could say it's a journey of 7 years with a pit with no bottom.
Yeah, we are not going tax free.
So, if I understand your question, one is the processing. Okay, let me step back a little bit. The rural India will continue. I would say my thought is about 5 years. I'm not able to see beyond 5 years, right? Rural India will continue wet markets, sir. Urban India will have lot of traction on processed meat. Governments, municipalities banning live animal butchery shops will probably not happen, because live animal butchery shops are creating a lot of jobs in that sector, and that's the social responsibility of the government. Now, we always talk about how we move the consumer from live animal butchery shops to a modern retail, more hygienic. And with 6 years of we being an online and offline retailer, we have not been able to find an answer. But the shift is extremely slow, but it is happening. It's happening. I think the younger generation, which is 38, 40 years and below, they will have a lot more inhibition to go to a live animal butchery shop, because it's very gruesome to see the entire environment. The younger crowd goes to a little more hygienic places. It's an investment the sector has to do. It's a long-term investment, sir. It is not like you put one flock of birds and you start getting hatching eggs, and then you start selling baby chicks, you see cash rotation. Retail is a whole different animal. It's a long shot. But when you talk about Viksit Bharat, when you talk about the future of this country, you will not find any country in the world with so many consuming people. The world large companies are looking at an entry into this country, right? You go to any country in the world, 10 million, 20 million, 30 million people, 100 million, 200 million. It is just, in half the city in rural India. So I think if you are going to build a brand, you should build a brand with passion, long-term investment. It's not, you don't look at it as, okay, what's my return, what's my profitability, but there's a lot of traction, sir. The quick commerce, which is happening now, which is your 15-minute delivery, which is happening across the state, those service providers are giving tremendous traction for processed food. Tremendous traction. We are seeing a lot of sales coming off of that. And it's a food tech enterprise. It's not a poultry enterprise. It's a food technology. You need to watch your stocks. You need to have, it's a whole animal, customer retention, CRM program. Why did Mr. Uday did not come back to my store last week? How can I hit him again? If you go to your booking.com and you don't book the hotel, they will haunt you, sir. They will haunt you. So that is the kind of technology that has to come into meat retailing. And they should haunt Uday to come back to the store if he doesn't show up. So this is a massive amount of technology and deployment. Very exciting space to be in.
Thank you, Naveen. Very important point has emerged that you mentioned poultry, but I would say the entire animal agriculture sector is no longer mere farming or agriculture. It is food production center, it is food technology, and encompasses a whole lot of economic activities. So we hope that it actually emerges as a business, as an enterprise, as a vocation of choice, rather than majboori, jisko kehte hain. I'll come to you, Ravi. You see, in my view, it's not merely the tariffs which pose some threat to the ever-growing and expanding shrimp industry. There are a few other factors also. One is the integrity of our product, which we sometimes is questioned and demonstrated also by rejection of our shrimp consignments by the importing nations, number one. And number two, our heavy dependence not only on exports, but also on imports. You see, we import, the entire broodstock comes from abroad, and that entire product also goes abroad. And this has also created a situation where we are dependent upon almost a single product, sourced from a single source, and then sent also to the single source. How do you circumvent this situation, and what kind of response and strategies is the shrimp industry looking at?
Yeah.
And another thing, how has Ecuador, small country like Ecuador, overtaken us, and what lessons can we learn from Ecuador? But briefly, within 5 minutes.
Yeah, very good question, sir. First, coming to the demand side of it, we sell about 45% to US, 40 to 45%. And now we are hit with the roadblock of tariffs. And before that also we have anti-dumping duty, countervailing duty and all that. So we need to work on alternate markets. But you know, world markets itself is stagnant. So for sure, we need to work on the domestic market. We have huge potential. We need to tap into the potential. We have huge population and good demographic dividend. And if you look at one demographic cohort of India, Gen Z, which consists of 26%, they influence 46% of the consumption in this country. 46%. And what are their attributes? If you look at that particular cohort's attribute, what they want is convenience, and the second thing is they want to eat healthy. They look for eating protein. And shrimp has both the attributes, but we are not able to let the public at large of this country to know about the goodness of shrimp. So I think first we need to work on the awareness. As they say in management, awareness precedes the demand. First, the public should know what it is. Then the demand would start. That is the first point, sir. And the other thing is you were asking about the broodstock. I mean, we're importing a broodstock called SPF, specific pathogen free. It is free of diseases, but it is not tolerant to the diseases. Because we're doing the culture in small ponds with full biosecurity. If you look at Ecuador, what they do is they do the culture in big farms, no biosecurity, they don't treat the water, but the broodstock is tolerant. The mother prawn itself is is not free of diseases, but it is tolerant to the diseases. So the offspring also has the tolerance. When we started the culture like 15 years back or so, whole of Asia was using SPF, but those times the number of diseases were less. Today, new diseases have emerged. So probably we may have to move from SPF to tolerant. SPF along with tolerance. So we need to invest money on that. Apart from that, we need to work with other species. We need to domesticate the species what we have within the country. They can definitely, do well even in harsh weather. I mean, one of the reasons why Vaname is not doing well is because of the climate change. I mean, the temperatures have gone up in winter. Whereas the line what we are doing or the species what we are doing, it comes from a temperate climate. So it's not doing all that well in winter, all that well in summer months. So our species, if we domesticate, definitely it's an investment for the future. And as we move forward towards 2047, we should work on different species so that we'll have stability. I mean, we'll not get knocked off with the diseases like the way we're getting knocked off. The shrimps are falling like 9 pins. That is from the production viewpoint. And we also need to work on the domestic market. I mean, if you look at the world, every country that is affluent, it consumes more protein. Not just shrimp, I mean, whole protein. I mean, Mr. Suresh Chituri was saying that right at the beginning. I mean, the countries with good GDP, if you look at per capita GDP, they're the ones who are consuming the highest protein. And even China, if you look at, today they're consuming about 2.5 million tons of shrimp. The world produces about 5.5 million tons. China is consuming 2.5 million tons. And their consumption in 2003-04 was only 3 lakhs. It has gone up almost 8-fold. And if you look at their economy, that was the time they're growing as an economy. The middle class started burgeoning, and the protein consumption has gone up, and along with that, shrimp consumption also has gone up. So by the time we become 2047 and a developed country, our protein consumption is going to go up, and we need to be ready. And we need to let the public know about the goodness of the shrimp, then India itself can consume. I mean, it's a whole lot of time it will take. I mean, if we start the journey now, as we're pushed to the wall now, I mean, this is the time we should turn it around. And I will tell you another example, so Brazil. Brazil is also a country that produces and consumes all the shrimp what they're producing. 15 years back, they were exporting 100%. And they were exporting only to one country, USA. And they've been imposed 80% anti-dumping duty. So they didn't have any other go. They started working on the domestic market. Today, they produce about 1.5 lakhs. They consume whole of it, and they import also. So it's not that India is not going to consume. Definitely it can consume if we work on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ravi. Thank you. In fact, in a different way, you have reiterated what I was mentioning yesterday, that we should wean ourselves away from an obsession with the export markets and tap the biggest consumer base of the world, that is India. Yes. Mr. Uday Singh Bias, you steer and guide the biggest poultry exhibition and knowledge seminar, which is held Poultry India. And I believe 17th edition of Poultry India is around the corner. How can you position Poultry India into actually catapulting poultry in the forefront of development of animal agriculture for Viksit Bharat? What would be your vision for the 7th edition of Poultry India would be in the context of Viksit Bharat?
Well, thank you for giving this opportunity. I would like to thank Mr. Gulati to get all the people on the stage, especially the associations. It's a wonderful thing he did to get all the associations together. And I would appreciate from IPMA on this regards, first of all. And taking it again, like as you said, voice of the nation, one voice. So it's same thing like that. One nation, one expo. What we had decided and we've been working on. We started in 2007 and this year would be 17th edition coming. And all these years we have been going through seeing a lot of changes and a lot of problems in the industry what have been coming up. So today we find ourselves that we can really give back to the industry, and this is the time when we all associations together join hands and represent the government of India. In regards to the problems what we have been facing, we can get that through one voice. And I'm sure the platform of Poultry India, where a lot of exhibitors, their exhibitors are from CLFMA, they are CLFMA from INFA, from VETS, all the associations, they have all their exhibitors in our Poultry India. So I'm sure Poultry India can be a platform also to take this further, and I'm sure the expert guidance which we have here today would guide us in getting us a good solution. And the industry right now needs really a good voice where we can represent that this is what we are facing today. Because I've been seeing the programs from yesterday, and we really need to have one voice. I'm sure about it. So now, all the exhibitors who are participating in the show, they get to know what we have to move forward with. We get the best of the technology in Poultry India. We show the best of the products, whether it's from equipments, from pharma, from feed, from every part of the industry. So last year, we had formed an association called PI-CIFA, wherein we have contributed around 2.5 CR for the industry problems. I'm sure this amount, what has been given to this is giving back to the industry again. So this is what we have done for our industry, and I'm sure this can be taken forward, and approach to the governments what exactly we are looking for. And as far as our exhibition is concerned, we happen to get the best of the technology from all the exhibitors, which they are showing on this platform. And we have been able to get most of the associations from abroad this year. As per the Viksit Bharat, what we are talking about, people are looking forward for India as they feel that India produces the finest quality of products. So they are coming to India to have a check. I have around 15 to 17 associations from abroad, this 17th edition, who would be seeing what exactly we are doing, how are we doing, what kind of practices are we adopting to get the best product at a very sustainable prices. So on this grounds, I'm sure we can have a proper view and have a discussion on this in the future to get all on a common platform.
Thank you, Mr. Bias. And I think all of us will join me in wishing Poultry India great success and that let it also grow. Because if Poultry India grows, the entire animal agriculture.
Yeah, I would thank you, and I would all invite you for the exhibition, which is on November 26, 27, and 28, which is the South Asia's biggest exhibition. And all of you are invited and to make this show a grand success.
Thank you. And I'm glad you acknowledged the role of CLFMA, especially the chairman CLFMA platform, as this group of panelists will indicate. My only request would be have more inclusivity of farmers, who are the primary producers. And I'm glad that you have put two farmers on my right and my left. Now, I think the word from our panelists is over. We are running woefully over time, but still, I think to be fair to the audience, and the audience has been very patient and very attentive, we'll take 2 or 3 questions. Yes, sir. My mic is on its way.
Keep in front of everyone here. So we have been talking about the low yield in India farms, but we are also not discussing the high cost of production per metric ton or per acre. So that's something that we really need to focus. We're talking about GM, but we are really discounting or ignoring the success story of maize in Bihar. Bihar maize is having one of the best yield globally. So that's something that we really need to make it an example, and we spread the word and adopt the good practices. Number 3, we talk about shortages. India produces close to 330 million tons of coarse grains. We consume plus wastage is 300 million. 30 million tons of coarse grains is being exported, mostly in the form of rice. I don't see shortages. It's just rebalancing or realigning. Number 4, we have also been talking about volatility of commodities. Just to give an example, the soybean meal prices of US jumped from 290 FOB to 340 FOB. It dropped back to 310 FOB in the past 2 months. That's volatility. And those guys are able to mitigate this because they have a good hedging mechanism. They have a futures exchange, which we don't have it here. So till the time we don't have such mechanism, such tools, we would be discussing this raw material issue in the next 5 to 10 years as well. So I think if poultry could make money or be profitable last year when the maize prices was in the high 20s and meal prices were in the mid 30s, and this year when the meal prices was in the low 20s and low 30s and maize prices were 20 to 23, we can't make money. It's a fallacy or it's an irony that I fail to understand. So it's high time that we start looking inward and we look at issues that's really, ailing us and try to find solution out of it. Thanks.
Thank you. I think he's made a very valid point. We also need to introspect. How true are we when we make certain claims and statements. I think one point which you made was very effectively made by Mr. Danda also. Anyone else? Okay, there being no hands raised, I think we conclude our panel discussion by giving a round of applause to all the panelists who have been very erudite. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tarun sir, for moderating this wonderful session. So I'll request everyone to please come forward for a photo opportunities.